Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the CB vlog here on YouTube. If you're liking what you see, you know what to do. Go down and hit subscribe. It really helps us out. Or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/commandersbrew to help us make these episodes. Get on our Discord and everything like that. But let's get into today's main topic. All right, well, Sean, let's what are we talking about today?
Today I want to give you some Scryfall tips that I use to keep my decks on a tight budget.
Ooh, love it.
We've said this before, but one of the areas that decks get expensive is lands. Because people want to use shocks, people want to use fetches. And I don't want to make this vlog about talking about how important it is to have lands come into play untapped, because the faster your meta is, the more important it is that you can cast spells on time, and a tapped land can in some metas be a liability. But I'm going to talk to all the metas where we can run tapped lands. The budget metas, you're my people, right? I'm talking to my people right now. I use a similar pattern for all my lands. I use a few tapped lands, probably a gain land, probably a bounce land, probably a gate, and whatever tri land if it's a 3-color deck. The deck that is in the episode that you're listening to that is coming out at the same time, the same week as this, is a Naya deck. So I'm going to use Naya terms. I'm going to walk you through some searches for it. So here's the syntax we use in Scryfall. I'm going to say T:land because I only want to see lands. I'm going to say ID equals Boros. And what that tells Scryfall is that it will only show me lands that have the color identity of red and white exactly. It's not going to give me only white colored lands. It's not going to give me colorless. It's going to give me cards that have the exact identity of Boros. Scryfall knows the names of the guilds, so you can use that. And here's the key. USD less than 0.5. So this will give me all the cards that are less than 50 cents on Scryfall. So if you do that for Boros, no surprise. You get the bounce land, you get the gain land, and you get the gate. But I also discovered, in addition to that, and it also gave me Path of Metal. Path of Metal is the enchantment, but it flips into a land, so it found it for me. And it just so happens in this deck, Path of Metal is going to be amazing. It's red and a white enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, does 1 damage to each creature without first strike, double strike, vigilance, or haste. And in a vigilance tribal deck, no problem, we all have vigilance. And then whenever you attack with at least 2 creatures that have those abilities, one of them, you transform it into the land. Metzali, Tower of Triumph, taps to add 1 mana of any color, 1 in red, tap 2 damage to each opponent. That's a win con over time. Or 2 in a white, choose a creature at random that attacked this turn, destroy that creature. That's a brutal ability. That's like super Maze of Ith. It's like, You don't get to target it, but something's gonna if something attacks, it's gonna die.
Yeah, I love anytime we can get this going. You're gonna be pretty happy with any of these flip lands from Ixalan for sure.
So I found that one for Boros. So this is a Naya deck. So we got to do that for Selesnya as well. So Selesnya, again, Scryfall shows us the bounce land, the gain land, and the gate. But it also has 9 others. There's 9 other 50 cent or less Selesnya lands. A lot of them I don't want, but I noticed there's another gain land, Grey Pelt Refuge. I'm going to straight up upgrade my gate, my Selesnya Guild Gate, to a Grey Pelt Refuge.
So hang on. So just before we go into this one,
yeah,
I just want to take a second to, there we go. Bring up the thing again, the little.
Oh, okay.
The search thing. So
Sure.
So we said it before, but now I'm displaying it. So it's T:land, USD space USD less than 0.5 ID equals Selesnya. This is for again, Scryfall. This is the syntax that you use. If you're like me, you can never remember these things, and if you're like Sean, you always remember them. So I'm just putting it up so people can see it and like write it down.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I put the ID equals Selesnya at the end is just to save me 10 seconds, because I only have to backspace Selesnya and replace that with the new guilds that I'm dealing with.
Exactly.
I'm not going to change everything in front of that. So Selesnya gives us 9 additional lands for under 50 cents. Some of those I actively don't want, but I do notice Grey Pelt Refuge, which is an upgrade from a gate if gates don't matter in your deck, and they don't. So I'm going to use this to have an additional gain land. And I also notice I've got Stirring Wildwood. It's a land that enters tapped, taps for green and white, and I can spend 1 green white, and until end of turn, it's a 3/4 green and white elemental with reach that's still a land. This is an attacking based deck, so that's going in because I like to attack. I'd like to be able to turn a land into a creature to do so.
Nice.
And we got 1 guild left, and that's Gruul, so I'm going to change the ID equals to Gruul at the end of that sentence. And I got another refuge to upgrade a gain land. So Kazandu Refuge is taking the spot of Gruul Guildgate. And again, we're a creature-based deck. I noticed Contested Cliffs. It's a land. This doesn't give us red or green, but it's a red or green identity. Tap to add 1 to your mana pool. Red-green tap. Target beast creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls. I'm now going to look at my deck to see if and how many beasts I have, because this might be a fantastic include. And if I have enough beasts, for sure I'm going to run that. TBD. But I'm glad I found it, and it's under 50 cents. It's actually 34 cents. So good to know.
Very good to know.
And then, of course, tri-lands. This is my favorite, right? Because we all know about the Jungle Shrine, that normal tri-land. But what about this? This one is... So here's how I changed it, right? I just changed ID to Naya now. Instead of ID equals a guild, ID equals a shard. Naya. Rith's Grove. It's a lair in addition to its land type. When it comes into play, sacrifice it unless you return a non-lair land you control to its owner's hand, and it taps for red, green, or white. So the other bounce lands set you back a land, but it gives you 2 lands. So this one does set you back a land. But if you want, if your colors are more demanding, this is an additional tri-land we can slip into the deck.
I use one of these in one of my Grixis decks, the Croesus's Chamber, I think it's called, or something like that.
Yeah, and I also noticed Tinder Farm. I'm going to replace a basic forest with Tinder Farm. It comes into play tapped, and it taps for green. But I can tap and sacrifice Tinder Farm to add red and white to my mana pool. I'm going to lose a land, but that seems like a fair price to pay for a forest, and coming into play tapped to give me a boost if I need it, or fix my colors if I'm desperate for red and white. This is a fun one. I'm happy to discover it. It's 10 cents.
These cards are great in the anything that cares about lands in your graveyard type deck. These cards are awesome in there. Yeah.
Well, if we care about lands in the graveyard, here's new syntax. So we also want to look for 5 color lands. So like lands that can tap for any. So here's how I did that. T:land, because it's going to be a land. USD less than symbol 0.5, so it's less than 50 cents. ID equals C. That's our way to tell Scryfall that the color identity of this land is colorless. There are no mana symbols that appear anywhere on it. And O::any. So that's an oracle. So I basically I'm telling Scryfall, look at the oracle text for the word any, because I'm expecting to find the phrase of any color, right? So the word any should give me any land that does that. And I found quite a few, and here's some ones I want. Obviously, they give us Transguild Promenade and Rupture Spire, those ones that we have mixed opinions on sometimes, because they do go real slow. So, Andy, how do you feel about Ether Hub in a deck where you don't generate any energy or have any use of energy?
If you're looking at, you know what, I love it. I think it's fine. I think it's great. I think you're going to use it more in the higher 5 color, 4 color decks, but it's actually still pretty decent in a 2 and 3 color deck. Because think about it. Think about whenever you use the Vivid Land, right? Which you have 2 uses to tap for anything, and then it also has whatever color it is, green, blue, whatever. I rarely use the ability where I need to take a counter off it and use it for any color, like in the 2 and 3 color decks, I mean. So that's why I think Aether Hub is actually fine for those decks.
Yeah, I'll grant you that the downside is if you're just stuck and you don't have a mountain and you use it once for red and you still don't have a mountain, you're stuck without red.
Yeah.
That is a downside, but I think the upside is worth it. Now, I want to ask your opinion. This is a new card. I have never heard of this card before. How do you feel about Archaeological Dig? It's a land that comes into play untapped, and it adds 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. So this doesn't slow you down, but you can tap, sacrifice Archaeological Dig, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So if you're desperate, you got to lose it. You got to pay for it. How do you feel about this in a deck?
I'm not as wild about this one, because this reads to me that it's probably just going to be a colorless mana most of the time. And the ability to lose a land to just add any color, I feel like we can do better than that. Like, you can add lands that are just... Like, I'd rather run Rupture Spire over this.
I think I agree with you. I wouldn't put this in any deck. However, I'm grateful I found it, because any deck where I'm running Ramunap Excavator or Crucible of Worlds, this is going in those decks, and it's 25 cents. So, like, if I know I have ways to get lands out of my graveyard, if I care about that, I'm so grateful to have found this, thanks to Scryfall.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so, like, I just, out of curiosity, I went up a bit. I took this last search for 5 color lands, because I do want some basics. I could go deep and find all of the Boros lands, all of the Selesnya, all of the Gruul, and have no room for basics. But I do want to search up basics using Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse. I can't have no basics. So one of the things but I was like, well, what are these 5 color lands? Maybe I'm going to up my budget a little bit. So I changed the USD less than 0.5. I added USD less than $1, and I also added USD greater than 0.49. So it includes 50 cents and above. Because, math cares about, like, greater than 50 does not include 50.
Right.
It's arbitrary.
You can do greater than or equal to, right?
That's possible too. You can use any of those terms. And I found that Exotic Orchard is currently less than $1 because of its inclusion in Commander 2019. This card is always more than $1. So, thanks to Scryfall and doing these fun syntax of searches, I'm going to make a recommendation that everyone goes out and buys a few Exotic Orchards while they're under $1, because this is the land that taps for any 1 mana of a color a land an opponent controls could produce. This usually allows us to get any land, color we want. There are very rare occasions where, like, the Exotic Orchard is only a dual land now.
Yeah,
like it doesn't give me red.
Yeah, it like basically is always at least a 4-color land.
Right, yeah. Right. Like the chance it doesn't give you one of the 3 that you need for your deck, then that's fine. But if your opponents have anything like if your opponents have an Exotic Orchard, then they both see each other as possible 5. So now everyone gets 5 colors.
Yeah, it's like, even if this did only tap for 2 colors, then it's just only an original dual land.
Yeah, right. It's only an original dual land.
Yeah. So pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. So I mean that's that. That's just a little it's just a quick one today, but I wanted to just remind everyone that, like, Scryfall is a very powerful search engine, and if we use the syntax and for budget reasons, we can keep our budget very low. And lands is an area that we play in a fun medium budget meta. Our decks are super fun, and I almost never have trouble casting specific spells, unless I'm just not drawing lands, period.
Great. Well, thanks for listening. This was really cool and very helpful for us deck brewers and deck builders when we're using Scryfall, which is our preferred tool when we're actually looking up any of the cards, because of this, like, ultra customization you can use and especially once you familiarize yourself with the syntax. But also, I will say this, for any Scryfall users who are kind of intimidated by using all these, like, terms and stuff, they teach you them on the website. There's, like, a whole page where it, like, shows you them all. But also, there is just a regular search option where you can, like, click the buttons and, like, type in the words you want. Like, they also have that option. It's just that if you're proficient with these... like the syntax of the search, you can just do it much quicker. That's kind of all.
So let us, we'd love to hear your search tips. Like, if you've got any, like, cool, like, Scryfall search syntax things that you love to do, please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember to check us out next week when you come back and watch the CB vlog again.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCGplayer affiliate link below.
That helps us out too. And for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.